Tris Kearney, Dan Cracciola, all the voices that are always helping Bay Park, and you guys do an incredible job. So thanks for getting the word out here, and I know you're going to continue putting the word out after this meeting. So you guys as a community really stick together, and it makes a huge difference. So I'm not going to waste any more time. It's time for you guys to learn what's going to happen to this park. It's literally going to transform this community, and it's really one of the greatest things that Nassau County has done. The county executive has continued to push for all this work. So, Rob, can I give this mic to you and begin this
mic? No. If you do, I will. Yeah. Really don't. So let me just thank everybody on behalf of the county executive and Howard Capel and Denise Ford. Denise Ford is now, in most cases, your new county legislator for coming out tonight. The reason, and we've met with many people, and I know Mike Martino did a great job of introducing everybody that's been key players throughout in your community related to the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy and where we stand for Bay Park and the redevelopment of not only the wastewater facility, but more importantly also the park, and bringing some character back to the facility and to the neighborhood. So Peter and Mike will get into some further detail, but we recently had a meeting with the Civic Association. I guess it was about 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, I believe. We went over a lot of the changes, and the Civic Association created a advisory committee that's going to look to other changes in the park, which we'll soon be announcing, related to dog runs and other things such as that. But the real reason why we wanted to get together today was, to provide you with greater detail since the last meeting. Basically now having a construction timeline, a contract's been awarded for the perimeter berm slash wall, other characteristics of that, which includes the ball field, new playing surfaces, new administration building, new playground, et cetera, to give you a real sense of where now we are with time, having, again, the contract been awarded, what you're going to start to see as a community, not that you haven't seen it before, but what you're going to start with construction timelines, vehicles that are going to be in and out of the community, and things of that nature. On a very positive note, I think it was the Civic Association meeting that really turned a lot of heads in terms of the county eyes as well, that we were able to spend a lot more time with individuals, to go over specific needs that you may have, where your house is situated, what we can actually do to hopefully make it better if at all possible. We know in many cases it won't be. What you've lived with is not fun. I do not. I'm glad we picked actually probably a good night to come here, where not to joke around, but that all of a sudden we put these extra smell nice things in the trees. But we know what you've had to endure, and we want to make sure as we continue to go down a road that we build a facility that not only is stronger and is going to prevent itself from future storms, but more importantly, it's going to be more aesthetically pleasing, and the odors that you've had to deal with for so long is going to be dealt with finally for the first time with a new contract and with other things that are going on in the facility. So, again, that's probably the most important. You want to protect yourself from being devastated by a storm, but also you want something you've had to live with for way too long. Hopefully we have some answers, to that. So on that note, I'll turn it over to Mike and Peter, and then we'll stay around to answer any obviously questions that you may have as they go through the presentation and the timeline. But we thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, everybody's doing. I just want to mention we're going to focus on the berm and the parks, obviously, but first I want to mention there are 9 active construction jobs ongoing at this plant. If you guys look behind you, you can see the demolition that has taken place. That used to be the old construction house and construction trailers. That is gone. So we are actively managing now 9 active construction projects, part of that $830 million. And I think the reason tonight is we want to inform you guys about one of the jobs, the berm job and the park job, that's going to impact the community. And we want to give you a sense of schedule, the closure of this park, the impact to the community, and how we're going to try to mitigate that entire job. So, and Peter's holding up the schedule, but as of tomorrow, this park is going to be closed, entirely fenced off. There's going to be access with this road to the boat ramps, the golf course, but the usage of this park is gone. and it'll be back online. We have an aggressive schedule, and Peter, it's March of next year, so it's about 9 months away. So the contractor, Grace Industries, is the contractor, and it's an aggressive schedule to get this park renovated, raised, and back online by March. So you guys are going to see an impact, with this park as well as the Western Park. And again, so that's the berm contract and the park contract. But I just want to make sure everybody realizes that it's going to be, we're managing the contracts on the site as well as this berm and this facility. But and we're trying to mitigate any impact to the community in terms of trucks and union laborers coming in and the planes going over. But we need, to progress these jobs. And I think, as of tomorrow, you'll see this park closed. You'll see the berm starting. You'll see more laborers coming into the facility. We're mitigating the traffic in the neighborhood and the impact to the community. The other jobs, and I know one that's on everybody's mind, is the generator job, the generator control job. By August 1st, we're going to have those noisy generators out front, and I'm looking straight at you, offline, and the primary source generators online, on load. It was an aggressive schedule. We're going to meet it, and we're going to turn those generators off, thank God. I promise. If it is not, you'll never see me again because I'll be somewhere else.
Buried in the berm.
Yes. Yes. So. Also, again, 9 active construction jobs. We're also working with third-party designers now to this about 6 or 7 more contracts coming out. So it's amazing the activity that's going on at this plant, whether it's in construction or design, and how this plant's going to be transformed. Nobody can see the schedule, but again, 9 active construction jobs. Also, we have, like I said, 6 to 7 more that are coming out in design. I think the berm is going to be the biggest impact to the community because of the closure of the parks, because of the amount of clay trucks coming in, because of the amount of activity. And again, we're trying to mitigate that. Peter's going to go through some of the details on that, and also how that berm is going to look. Anything else on the plan? Any questions you guys have? Please let me know, and we'll answer those questions at the end of this presentation. So, Peter, if you want to give some details on the park, I'll hold up some renderings.
Does everybody have the handout? Because this is probably the best. You can probably read this better than the boards. So let's.
Can we pass the board around?
Yes, sure. Absolutely. So let's look at the first handout here, which shows the park. So you can see the general layout of the park, and we don't have the. We're going to use this rendering to look at the park. So you can see a couple things that are going to be very significantly different. One, the access road is going to move from over there to over here, right? The rationale was, why have the roads separating the park from the water, right? If the water is our resource and we want to engage with the water, we don't want to have a road between the water and the use of the public space. So the intention is to bring the ball fields out and create basically a river walk of sorts on the edge of the park, and that walk is going to have multiple use. It's going to be ADA compliant, and it's just really going to take advantage of the space there that's created. Hey Sheila, how are you? Commissioner Shaw here. It's going to take advantage of that connection between the water and, of course, the public space. So that's going to be one thing that's going to be significant. The other thing is you're going to see, if you see on the plan, there's 2 types of berms, right? There's the levee section, and then there's the wall section. So the levee section we chose for areas like this. And if you can see, there's a tree over there with a pink ribbon on it. Can you see that? That's the height, more or less, of the new levee.
So not much higher.
It's not much higher. The plan to put this berm there back in the day for the purposes of a visual barrier and for sound attenuation. And so what we're doing is we're basically literally building on that concept. And this particular berm is a non-functional berm. In a sense, it's not a engineered structure. It's got some soil in there, it's got some concrete in there, but it's not with a clay core, it's not built like a dam, right? It's not going to hold back water. The new levee is built to Army Corps of Engineers standards with a clay core. It's impermeable and it won't let water in. So up here, where we have direct engagement with the public, you're going to see more or less that type of look, a little bit higher, with more or less the same type of slope, all right? And then in certain spaces along the corner here and the back side of the plant where it directly faces the golf course, we're going to put a reinforced concrete wall. And we're doing that because we don't have the space between those two roads in order to build a levee. The problem with the levee, I mean, the good thing about a levee is it's visually softer on the aesthetics. The challenge, of course, is that it takes up space. It actually takes up 60, 70 feet, more or less. And so that's a lot of space to give up for a protective design. A reinforced concrete wall, in comparison, takes less than a couple feet, right? So in that part of the plant, between those two roads, we didn't want to take the road between the golf course and the plant, nor did we have an opportunity. We couldn't take the road away from the internal plant because the trucks have to move around the plant. So on that side, we built the wall. And you can see on the second page, the upper photo shows sort of what that wall looks like as you stare at it from the parking lot near the boat ramp. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to treat the wall like, with what I want to say state-of-the-art reinforced concrete treatment, so that it looks basically aesthetically pleasing to the eye. We're probably going to do a better job than what you see on the LIE and these types of roads. We're going to have sort of a wave-like pattern, and we're going to have sort of blue impressions in it to make it look like it's sort of a public art. But the bottom line is we're doing our best to make it look nice. But that's going to be a fully functional wall on that side of the plant. So this side more or less has the berm. The far side more or less has the berm. That side more or less has the wall. So any questions on that so far? Yes.
In construction, I guess you're going to remove the berm that exists?
Yes, we're going to, we more or less understand what's in that dirt. We're going to try to recycle as much as possible of that dirt. When we remove this, if something is unsuitable, we're going to remove it from site. If it's concrete debris or other types of debris, we'll remove it. But we're going to do our best to recycle all of the soil that's on site right now. And in particular, we have a large pile of soil that we've created from the construction of the odor control project. We're going to reuse that as well. So we're trying to do our best to not cart in and out, but use what's in our fence to recycle.
Who was the contract awarded to?
The contract for the wall,
The berm.
the berm, is awarded to Grace Industries. And like I said, they're ready to go. Any other questions before?
In order to maintain the structural integrity of the berm, I heard that the trees are going to have to be removed. Will there be any type of a barrier site otherwise?
For the yes, right. Yes. So one of the things we had a community meeting, I think it was about a month ago, and we got some feedback. The front of the plant has large entrance gates, and the way we treated it architecturally so far. Right. Is we had sort of an architectural treatment, and one of the feedback points we got from the community meeting was that you guys would like to see it a little bit greener. So what we're doing is we're sort of de-emphasizing the look of this treatment, and we're putting greenery up here in the front of it and treeing it up basically so that it looks like more trees and less like sort of an architected front. And so we're developing renderings for that, and we'll be presenting that as that gets developed. But, that's an example of putting the trees back. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of plantings in the park to the west. And there's a whole planting schedule going on. We're trying to replace a lot of the trees that are removed as part of the construction. So you got it.
Yeah, that actually was my question, because we do lose a lot of coverage.
Yes.
The loss of those trees, 10 or 15 feet additional.
Yes,
So it's
understood.
nice to regain.
Yeah, I mean, part of the The engineering issue with these berms is that you don't want to have trees growing in them because, if you think about it, if you take a tree like this and you put it on the berm, eventually the tree dies, and then what happens is that root system actually creates a weakness in the structure, and so they generally discourage growth of anything significant on the berm itself because it actually it degrades the function of the berm. And so proper maintenance of the berm is to sort of keep all the large trees off of it, right? That's why the plantings are generally of low height shrubbery that sort of blends into sort of the natural ecosystem here.
When would you think that your planting plan would be done, especially for the west side?
We can get back to you on the specifics of when that's going to take place. We're trying to have all the plantings done for the park area by more or less 9 months from now. So, the park, when returned to service, is supposed to have all of the plantings more or less in place. Now, the plantings at that point will be young in their life cycle, so we'll have to be watching them. We'll have to be maintaining that, but that's the intention. So you might see a lot of young plantings at that point next year.
What's going on along what would be Golf Course Road or whatever? Along the golf course. What's the plan for that?
So there's two thoughts. The one thought is, in the big picture of things, you've got a park here, and you've got a park over there, right? And it's not really connected. You can't connect it on the north side because people live there, right? So there was an attempt to create a path to connect these two parks and to make both of those parks sort of begin to work together. Now, obviously, there's a limit because there's a road on one side. You got to go to the police.
Right.
And there's a road on the other side because the plants got to go back and forth. But they tried to take that space and sort of architect it and design it so like it meanders a little bit. There's a little bit of topography change. There's some plantings there so that becomes like an enjoyable walk, and people will be encouraged to go from this side to that side. That was the intent.
Is that berm a wall?
That's a wall because we don't have the 60 feet of space because we're tucked between those two roads.
Well, wasn't that like a 9-foot surge in the plant? Didn't I read something about that? 9 feet of water in that?
The amount of surge, more or less, was about 11.5, 12 feet.
Yeah,
So
I'm wondering what an 8-foot wall is going to do. Because they're talking about an 8-foot wall.
right, so let's talk about like elevations. Okay, the wall is built to a height of 18.25.
Oh, the
all right.
concrete wall will be that high.
Yeah. Now, ground surface is basically between 7 and 11. All right. So that number, 18.25, that's not the number from here. That's the number from the mean sea level, right? So the height of the wall is at its high point going to be about 11 feet, 11.5 feet at the lower corner, the southeast corner. And in some cases, the height of the wall will be at the height of the berm. Like on the far side, on the west side of the park, the height of the berm is more or less going to be the height of the existing berm. Here, the height of the berm is going to be about 3 feet higher than the existing berm. So it's going to vary. The wall will be consistently 18.25, but that's the absolute
More or less
height.
the height of the berm.
You got it. But the actual height above grass and ground as we walk on it today varies between 3 or 4 feet,
Now,
as much as 10 feet.
Some waterproof gates, how do they close it off?
Right. So the waterproof gates, we have, there's a lot of people all over the planet who've built levees,
Yeah.
right? And so they came up with the design of waterproof gates, and we've used that in New Orleans for a couple different installations. So basically what it is it's a large panel that slides back and forth. You know how like we have a closet, you have these two doors in a closet, and you have a track up on top, right? And you slide one door, you slide both doors, you can go back and forth. It's basically our gate closure. We have a large concrete panel that's supported by rollers on an overhead gantry, and when a storm comes, that gets rolled into place and it gets secured in place. And it's a mechanical system. It's not dependent upon power, of course, because at that time power may be on or off or may be diverted for other uses. So it's meant to be either electrically or manually closed. And we'll have an active gate here, and then we'll have normally closed gates on the rear of the plants. So you have 2 normally closed gates and 1 normally open gate. And so during the storm, prior to a storm, they'll close the gate. And obviously periodically that'll be tested to make sure it closes properly.
In some of the meetings for the CRP for East Rockaway and Bay Park, there was some talk about perhaps almost like plugging in here for us as far as like a microgrid system to power a school or power. Is there any ideas in that now, or is that part of different projects?
I still think that that's being discussed. I'm not sure that we have the information right now to talk specifically to that, but I know that there's a discussion about that going on, and that'll probably continue through the CRZ process, the New York Rising process.
Go ahead.
You talked about mitigating traffic, in the community and access to the Gulf and the docks down there at the very far south end. Will that mean that First Avenue becomes the main access road for the construction vehicles and the community traffic to get to those recreational facilities? Will this road be closed basically throughout construction?
Well, this road will certainly be closed while we redo the park, because we'll have to shift the road from this side to that side. But obviously we're looking to minimize the duration of that. And there's been a lot of attention placed on trying to mitigate. I mean, the reality of it is there's a number of trucks that have to come to the plant and leave the plant in order for this construction to take place.
And they will be on First Avenue. That was my question.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. All the trucks are going to come to First Avenue. This roadway, whether it's the way it is now or an interim roadway, is going to be maintained so you have access. We're looking at opening up a second gate to the plant to have maybe plant personnel and engineers come in so we don't choke the First Avenue entrance. But we also are working with Grace Industries and the contractors where, whether it's the First Avenue gate or the Third Avenue gate, there's only going to be 2 gates we're coming in. And there's going to be no trucks through the community. There's no parking in the community, and it's something we're going to have to monitor. But it's unfortunately there's one road into this plant. Whether we come around and we use the back entrances or First Avenue, there's also the 4th and 5th Avenue entrances. But still, we're going by schools and communities, and we just can't do that.
You can get in here by boat.
Yeah, will the county be surveying?
Yeah. Trish, go ahead.
Yeah, will the county be surveying the homes that are along First Avenue and the other access points where the heavy trucks will be coming in? In the past, there has been damage done to foundations along First Avenue because of vibrations. The road really isn't capable of handling these very, very, very heavy trucks. We're bringing in clay built heavy. They're going to be 75,000 pounds apiece and probably moving too fast. So that road's not in great condition, and every time one of these trucks hits a pothole, there's going to be some waves running through the community. So I would
Understood,
like to
Trish.
see the county come out and survey people's
Yes.
homes so that we can establish fault for when foundations.
Understood. And on many projects, and on this project, pre-construction photos, pre-construction surveys, and crack monitoring will be done on all adjacent structures. Now, the homes in the community, we're going to have to add that, but I think it's a great idea. Because, yes, things shift, foundations crack, and then the blame is pointed and nobody knows what happened prior to construction.
I've got a brand new $65,000 foundation, so I'd like to see it.
Understood. Yes, and one of the things I'll add is everything on this facility is supported by piles, and we're not driving piles, we're doing auger piles, which is, you auger into the ground so you minimize, you don't have that hammer banging in sheeting or a pile.
We know all about that.
Yes, I know. So,
But also traffic control. Again, your guys come through here, they move too fast on a regular basis. It's just the personnel coming in the mornings. They're moving too fast. So how many trucks, by the way, do you expect to have to bring in a day for the berm?
it's again, there's the berm contract is one aspect. The other 8 active construction jobs is another. The union trades coming in. So we're looking at maybe 300 vehicles coming in here, concrete trucks, clay trucks. A day. I don't have the estimate right now, but we're looking at just say 10 to 15 a day. You still have all the chemical trucks to operate the plant. You still have all the sludge trucks moving out, so it's a significant amount. I don't have an exact number, but it's significant.
Well, what are you going to do to control these people? Because they really don't control themselves. I don't know that we want to be standing on street corners and taking down plate numbers.
I agree. I mean, I live here on 5th Avenue, right by stop signs, and they blatantly go through stop signs, be it the personal cars of the employees of the plant or the people or the trucks bringing in the sludge.
Understood. My answer is right now we control the facility of the site. how they get access. We control the routes that they can take. Now, to police the neighborhood is something that we don't control, and if it's that severe of a problem, we're going to have to deal with the county and the police department to make sure that if something happens where they obey all the traffic laws. That gentleman in the back, he's been raising his hand. I'm sorry.
What time is the construction going to start? Are you going to work on Saturdays, Sundays?
No, right now it's the normal construction hours. It's 7 to 3:30. No Saturdays or Sundays. Overtime, it has to be approved. We have to notify the county as well as the fire department, police department. So I'm not saying there won't be overtime, but right now the regular construction hours are 7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday.
Will the trucks be sitting on First Avenue idling?
No, there's a requirement in the contract that they can't sit anywhere on First Avenue. Again, it's something that we have to police. We have to work with the county to make sure, because, you know, I know when they brought the Greco generators in, we had them staging and they sat on First Avenue, and it was unacceptable, and it's just, we can't have that again.
Actually, a question for Mr. Walker. Can you ask the police department to sign the roads 15 miles an hour?
We don't set speed limits.
Can you suspend parking?
Yeah, it's the town of Hempstead, and nor do we suspend parking. The county doesn't have that in its ability to do it by law.
My concern, I think probably Bruno's is the same, is that obviously we know there's no easy way to get in here. But you're going to be going through the school season, and First Avenue is technically the rear end of Rame Avenue School. You have Ocean Avenue is a county road. It's a nightmare now. Okay, I don't know if they're going to be using that. You have East Rockaway Road, which is another uncontrollable road because the tractor trailers are coming through there. It's another county road. Atlantic Avenue is a county road. We don't personally, the village personally doesn't have the control there. It's obviously the county. But to send trucks down Ocean Avenue or East Rockaway Road at that time of the morning, especially, you know, your 7 o'clock starts and all, it's going to be nightmarish, to be honest with you. And not only that, but those roads are in bad shape. Ocean Avenue is a heartbreaker, you know what I mean? So, you know, to take that kind of traffic, I know you got a problem. I don't know how you're going to solve it. But, you know, maybe you got to get them through, bring them down Atlantic Avenue and come in some other way. You know, Atlantic Avenue via Oceanside or Long Beach Road, you know, something that can take more heavy traffic.
Yes.
Ocean Avenue cannot take this kind of traffic.
And Ocean Avenue is off limits to all the trucks.
Good.
And that is in the contracts, and Grace is here, they signed up for that, so nobody can go on Ocean Avenue.
Okay.
What about the schools?
So what about, that's a school, well, obviously got the high school there.
But we also, and to be honest, we're worried, I mean, and you guys know, I mean, we know from working at the plant for the last, 10 years, but, especially the last 18 months, at 3:25 or 3:28 and at 3:37, Bobby, the train comes down.
Right.
And that stalls right now. It stalls Atlantic. It stalls Ocean.
Right.
So now with all the guys leaving at 3:30, you're gonna have,
Right.
a couple hundred cars coming out of this plant on Atlantic, on Ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, I'm just being honest. We're worried about how to manage this traffic.
700 feet, Anna.
And also all future contracts. We're also looking at.
700 feet.
No one can park on site. We have to get remote facilities where they bus their workers in. And that's not easy either. That adds cost to the county. It adds cost to the community. But it may be the best way to move forward. Please, sir.
That was my question. Where are you going to house and park all these 300 vehicles with the laborers coming in? Do you have a plan for that?
Yes, we do. I mean, right now for the active 9 construction contracts between the plant staging areas and the Weston Park, we have enough staging for the contractors. Because, believe me, we don't want these people driving around the plant either. We want somebody coming in, parking their car at 7 a.m., 6:30, whenever they come in, leaving their car there, and then they transport around the facility, whatever site they have to go to, whether it's on the plant or the parks, they use the construction vehicles. And then at the end of the day, they get back to their vehicle and they leave. So we have enough staging for the remainder of the contracts that are going to come out for the 6 or 7 other construction projects. It's very tight. The facility's tight. So that's why we're looking at remote parking facilities and busing people in. They've done it in New York City. They've done it in Deer Island in Boston, where they barged their workers in. But again, it adds significant cost to the project. Please.
You talked about the scheduled to be done March of next year at some point. Does that include the entire berm all around?
No, yeah. And Pete, go ahead. You can talk.
I'm
Yeah,
basically asking, when are you going to be in the backyards? You know.
Right. We don't. To that specific question, which I know you have a vested interest in.
Yeah.
We don't. We right now haven't figured out exactly where the contractor's going to be when he's in your backyard.
Okay.
We're prioritizing obviously the return of the park back to service, because that's obviously very important for the community. And right now we're working with the contractor to sort of pin down all the other dates. The contractor submitted a schedule to us, and we're in the process of reviewing it right now.
So that would probably be after the March, or?
Yes, absolutely. Because the berm is not going to get done in 9 months or 12 months. There's a lot of work to be done.
Figure that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're prioritizing this.
All right, good to know.
So.
Do you work for the county or for the racing industry?
No, we work as consultants to the county. We're the engineers.
You're the
Yeah.
engineer?
Yeah.
And what's your name?
My name is Peter. Peter Gloss. Yeah. And this is Mike Dincole. We're the JV.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Just wondering about the timeline. Does the March timeline include the berm on the park, the playground side as well, or is it just what's pictured here?
At the moment right now, it's what's pictured here because we're prioritizing this use, because it's going to take an effort to demolish this, build it. I mean, you know, getting back to this picture on your handouts, you know, there's a lot of work to be done in the park. I mean, we're effectively raising the park 3 feet to make it flood-proof. We're creating a whole new drainage plan, and we're building really nice athletic fields and a whole new administration facility, plus new electrical and drainage infrastructure. I mean, the park is going to get a mega facelift. So that work is just going to take time. And we've asked the contractor to sort of focus on that so that we don't go 2 seasons with this park out of service. So that is really going to probably consume a lot of focus. And then probably once that is done, we're going to continue with the rest of the berm, because those areas back there have less of a public impact.
Right, so second part to that question. So this 9-month plan involves closing just this side of the park?
Well,
Yeah.
And that side stays open? Or?
No. As of tomorrow, our plan is to encompass this park and the western park.
The whole thing is shut down.
Yes,
Except-
and
What's the exception? Like just boats? Just to get your
the
boats?
the exception. I mean, basically, the roadway is going to remain open.
Right.
Grace Industries is going to protect 2 lanes of traffic plus a pedestrian walkway, so you could get all through this roadway, whether it's here, whether it's an interim, whether it's back there. So you can get to the boat ramp, so you can get to the golf course. The western park, those 2 sections that on either side of the jungle gym and the hockey rink are going to be closed. That jungle gym, hockey rink parking lot is going to remain open. You'll have access to it. But those 2 sections will be closed. So we're going to fence the entire park on both the east and western side, including the plant. The plant fence is going to come down, and they're going to start cutting all the trees down and excavating, removing the berm. So, I mean, that's the plan. And like Peter said, this park we want to get back online by March of next year. So 8-9 months, whatever that is. The western side, we want to keep that fenced in and leave that as the last aspect, maybe 20 months, so we could stage there because of the parking, because of storage, because of everything that we need to do. We need those areas.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
The first minute you mentioned staging on the western side of the park. Describe what you mean by that.
It's just those 2 areas are going to get renovated, and we need, whether it's parking for employees who won't come down Rames Avenue, but they'll come through the plant, or whether it's
On the grass, you're talking about actually parking on the grass. And all
on the grass, yeah. For whether it's trailers, whether it's clay piles, whether it's whatever they need to do to facilitate their work.
I got to tell you, we're not happy.
What's the plan with that
This
grass
wasn't
area?
discussed at the last meeting. Didn't give us time to try to maybe work out an alternate with you.
Okay.
I really think that this is going to be a major imposition. Of course, I have a vested interest in it. It's obvious, but it really affects a lot of it. It's 200 houses, 400 houses that are immediately adjacent to those fields, and that's really a gigantic imposition to have a construction yard, diesel equipment, and everything else running through the place. It blew out of hand.
Again, I'm not saying construction yard. I'm saying just staging for the
Staging
project.
for dirt, staging for machinery, staging for personnel,
Correct.
Trailers, right.
outhouses, I assume, all that kind of stuff over there.
No. Bathroom facilities will be within the plant. We need to accommodate bathroom facilities for 400 employees. That's not going to be on that site.
Well, that's good. Also, I mean, you have to set rules where they can't be sitting around in their cars, hanging around by the children's playground, smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, having a great time. None of that stuff can be in there.
I understand. Yes. If any union guys or trade guys or engineers or whoever, county employees, are smoking cigarettes and hanging by the park, then they're going to be fired that day.
By who?
By either Rob Walker, myself, Peter, or Grace, who's represented in the back. That's not going to happen. They have to be productive employees, and that's not the purpose. Yeah, please.
There's nothing, happy that we're here even talking about this. Let's just take a step back for a second, because I think it's important to do that. No one asked for Hurricane Sandy to hit. No one thought we'd have the damage that we have. We now are faced with a situation we have to protect this plant because we cannot afford to have 540,000 residents lose any type of treatment where they cannot flush their toilets. I think we would all at least agree to that. It is not an easy solution. There's no easy solution with all the work that needs to be done. That's why you're talking about a 4-year construction process. You're talking about $830 million, probably when you're all said and done, over $1 billion that are going to be spent right here in this facility, making sure that the damage that occurred doesn't happen again. Trying to do that all at the same time and keeping a park and understanding all of the residents' concerns is very challenging. These are going to be things that we're going to all have to work together literally on a daily basis. Something that you see that we thought we had an answer for. Now we don't have an answer for it. Let's find it. But if we're just going to have the attitude that we're not happy, listen, I'm not happy I'm here either. I'm not happy that Hurricane Sandy, I'm not happy that Hurricane Sandy happened. I'm not happy that people aren't back in their homes. But we're faced with the most difficult situation that we all have to deal with and move forward in the best way possible. So what we want to do is at least keep an open-minded. Everything that you mentioned today, I'll give you this. The police department will be out there enforcing speeding and things of that nature. That I can guarantee because they work for us. With respect to trying to figure out better pathways and better operational efficiencies, that's why Peter and Michael both mentioned before, we're trying to utilize what's in this site already, the dirt that's already here, so we don't have to have truckloads in. At the same time, understanding when we talk about 12 to 15 trucks that are going to come in, they're not all coming in at the same time because you can't work all at the same time. So these are the things that we will continue to stage and work with throughout this process. The things, again, that we can control, police, we will be gladly doing that. The idea with having all the homes pre-surveyed, I agree 100%. So put into effect whatever we need to do that. That makes sense as well. We can make that commitment today to move forward. But we're going to have to work together. The best way is to notify people, provide them with the information. Listen, I love parks. I think it's the best thing that we have in a county. Bottom line is we can't keep it open and risk jeopardizing the safety of the residents that are coming here, your kids that are coming here, and the workers that are working. And again, we have a very, very, very proactive schedule because we want to return it back to normalcy. We want to make sure that the trucks aren't driving on this road forever. And when you're going to be very proactive and you're going to make this happen quicker, there's going to be you're speeding up the process. You're getting more work done. If we want this to go on for 6 years and 8 years, yeah, you could stage everything and then we get another storm and guess what? That's the area that's not protected. That is foolish in my regard, and I would never allow that to happen from the county's point of view. We have to protect the plant and protect the residents, and that's what we were doing. Is there going to be some inconvenience? There's no doubt. Listen, you've had inconvenience forever living here. There's going to be an inconvenience. We want to minimize an inconvenience at the same time, make sure this gets done as quickly as possible, because the quicker you return to normalcy, the quicker all those roadblocks go away. That's the direction that we are moving in. That's, I believe, is the right direction. We look forward to working with everyone to come up with better ways. If there's a better way and you have a better solution, listen, you live here, I'll tell you what, they will be forced to listen to you. But we got to do it in an approach that makes sense. And again, knowing full well that we're all not going to be happy every day. We're not. It's just, that's the case.
I think that if we were given more just time just to really kind of understand that this is happening tomorrow. That's where I think you guys made your first mistake. We should have had this before 4th of July, my personal opinion now. I'd like to see there be some kind of updates like this forum.
I agree 100%.
For more community involvement, what's gone right?
Yep.
What are we seeing out there?
So let's just go through tomorrow because I agree with you 100%. First of all, the entire park's not going to be shut down tomorrow. This is going to take place over how long of a period of time? You're going to have it. How long?
I mean, the fence is going to go up, Rob. I mean, we're going to start tomorrow, as you say.
Start tomorrow in the park, but how long will that take to actually complete the whole process? 2 weeks. 2 weeks?
Yeah. Like kids can't go in the sprinkler tomorrow.
Well, what area are we closing for? Just so everyone knows, because I'm confused myself. So let's just get this. So what's actually, so everyone can understand, and maybe we can make a map up and give
You
it
have
to
a playground with a sprinkler that a lot of people use on that side.
That playground's staying open.
Okay. I thought that was being where the staging was.
No, that's
though.
what I'm saying. So who could better let's just make this very simple to everybody. Again, because I'm confused listening to it. We're talking about so many different things. I wish we actually had a full topographical map. We could actually pinpoint it, but again, it's a challenge. Just explain exactly what's being closed, exactly what's being open. Now, again, the time frame where we are is you have weather permitting, right? We need to get in and start. We could wait until September or October and say, listen, we're going to let the summer go by, and then, God forbid, you have a bad winter or a bad storm. Not granted, you're not going to have everything in place right away, but you cannot afford to wait, right? So that, unfortunately, is why we're here. I actually wish we started this project back in January. Unfortunately, we couldn't, just with going out to bid and doing all the proper, public procurement processes and getting contracts awarded. Unfortunately, it takes time, and we got to do it right because FEMA's reimbursing us, and you have to go through an environmental component and all these other things. But that being said, this is where we are today. So, what is definitely staying open? What is being closed? In what fashion will it be closed? If we can better explain it.
Real simply, this entire Eastern Park, which we're calling it, is going to be closed. That roadway stays open, to give access to the boat ramp and to the golf course. Now that roadway is going to get replaced, and it's going to be moved by the berm. So whether it's that roadway or an interim roadway or the permanent roadway, you guys will always have access to a roadway to go to the golf course and the boat ramp. On the Western Park, and maybe I didn't explain it well, there's the jungle gym, the rink, there's the sprinkler system, there's the parking lot for the community. That doesn't get renovated, that stays open the entire time. On each side of it, the north and south side, that gets renovated, it gets new plantings, new pathways, that gets closed tomorrow. So you guys will have access to the entire park, those two big fields on either side.
It's where the Raiders practice, basically. Everyone understands, right? Yeah.
But everything inside the Iron Gate is available all the time.
And again, there's protective fencing around those two areas on the Western Park, and whatever we need to do to protect that playground in that area, we'll do in terms of visual barriers. But again, those two areas on either side of the jungle gym, the sprinkler, the rink, get closed and get renovated.
And are also the staging area while they're working here.
When I say stage, yes, we want to make sure the
consideration made, just because we've lived here forever, that area down past the boat ramp used to be an area to launch kayaks or sailboats. It's fallen into disrepair. And it used to be the cricket fields. The cricket field is still down. I mean, that's down there. Far away from homes. Was there any consideration made of using that space for it? To keep
we
trucks
can,
down there?
if the community will approve, we can consider it. I mean, that's why we're having this meeting.
There's
Put
no
it down
homes
there.
there. There's nothing.
There's no homes down there who are inconvenienced to day visitors.
We'll just make it easy. They'll look into it right away.
Yeah.
It just might be more practical.
Okay, but again, those two areas, whether they're staging or not, they're going to get renovated and they're going to be closed. So when I say staging, I mean you guys took it as we're going to have, concrete trucks and people sitting there. That's not the intent.
But there will be trailers there.
No. There's not going to be trailers are on site.
Then what is the staging area if not that?
Take the picture first of what those fences are going to look like, what those places are going to look like.
I mean, the protective fences that are going to surround that area are going to be, it's an 8-foot fence that surrounds the entire area. And if we need, we'll put visual barriers, which will be, yeah.
It's an 8-foot chain link fence?
Yes, a chain link fence. It's a 1-inch chain link fence, correct. It's not just a construction fencing. It's going to be something that the community can't get into.
Right.
What's behind the fence?
So like staging could be, what are we doing with the work, right? We're basically taking the existing parcels that are on either side of that thing, and we're basically upgrading them. We're giving new plantings. We're creating a.
Just stop.
Okay.
Start at the beginning, and then that's the end result.
That's the end result.
What do you plan on putting behind the fences, and will there be direct access for whoever is staging around in there to get into the plant directly from that area through what's now the berm?
Right.
So you have a pathway and people aren't coming all the way around.
Right.
So maybe give us a better.
Okay. So at the beginning, and part of it is. The contractor submitted his schedule 2 weeks ago. We're working very quickly with the contractor to coordinate all these issues. We're coordinating the staging issues, the traffic issues. A number of things are happening. the staging could, well, we don't want to put him per se in the spot, but the bottom line is we're not going to have trailers, we're not going to have bathrooms, we're not going to have truck parking. We're going to have places where the contractor's going to bring in a lot of material, right? Let's say the contractor is going to spread so many cubic yards of dirt that day, right? When this park is done and he has dirt to do, we don't want to stage here, right? Because this will be done in 9 months. So he's going to put, as needed, piles of dirt so that he can use those piles, because he's not going to have crews waiting around for the truck to come down First Avenue, right? So that's the type of staging use that this guy's going to have in order to process his work effectively and efficiently. So a lot of it is the staging of materials, which for the most part is dirt, because we're building on that end, particularly here, most of it is a big levee with a lot of dirt and clay. So that's probably the preponderance of use, is dirt and clay staging so that he can use it for the work that has to progress quite efficiently. So I would say we don't know exactly what he's going to put. Maybe he's going to put park equipment. Maybe he's going to put some of the ball field stuff. I don't know. Bottom line is we're going to try to keep it looking nice. We're going to try to keep it from not looking like a junkyard. It's not going to have porta potties and trailers laying around. You know, it'll be the best we can do it. But we're going to do work there, and we're going to need the staging area, because we can't stage the construction in the plant, because the plant has to run. And as Mike said, the plant has 7 other jobs that are going on. So, I mean,
you should really I'm serious, you should really take a look at the land down there.
Absolutely, we can take a look at the land.
Hundreds of thousands of yards of dirt you could put down there.
Understood, but you got to remember too.
You got an entrance right down there.
Right.
There's a new entrance.
I understand, but if you put dirt there,
right,
and the contractor wants to use it, he's got to go back there to get the dirt. No, I understand, but if you don't, we'll look into it.
That's all.
Yep.
Okay.
It might not be usable. Let them look into it.
We live here. We're concerned. We've been dealing with
I understand
generators
that.
in order for
And I told you the answer. We will look into it.
Got an attitude.
No, I don't.
We're worried about what's coming
No,
up.
I don't.
That's all.
I don't.
We're just protecting our homes.
I don't, and I don't have an attitude. That's why we're
But you
here.
do.
No, I
Just
don't.
understand we're protecting our homes.
I just don't know.
That's
You don't have to say the same thing 92 times.
all. Okay. Well, you know
but we
what?
look
We've been
into
told
it.
1,000 times things will be taken care of, and they weren't.
Listen, I don't think.
So we're a little gun-shy.
Okay, well, I don't think there's been any more of an administration that's been here more than any other person.
Why we're
No, I do, and I respect that. I respect that. I'm not arguing with you. That's why we are here. And that's no, I'm not arguing. I told you right. What I tell you, I could have said no. We're not going to look into it. I didn't say that. I said right away we will look into it. We'll look into it and get back to you. It's, okay. This is what I'm trying to say. And if you think I'm being argumentative, I apologize because I'm not. The answer is I don't want to give you wrong answers, right? So let them go back and do their due diligence. Let them see.
Due diligence, and then checking at the beginning, saying, "Well, there are homes 50 feet from here. Let me look somewhere else."
And maybe somebody did that they don't have the answers to, right? Maybe because, but maybe because of the situation with it, you can't store material on there. Maybe you can't store soil. I don't know those answers, so I'll give you a very simple answer. Let them go back and look and do their due diligence. I think we've already said the things that we've said. You know, we're going to right away. You know, look everyone's home. Do a pre-survey of homes, right? Then I don't think I'm being combative at all. We keep going over the same thing. Let's move forward and say, what can we do? You know, by answering the same question 97 times, you don't move forward.
I have a new one.
Go ahead.
Nick Connor. Back when the Clean and Seed program version 1 was going on and had been taken over by either the town of Hempstead or Nassau County, and they were performing the duties, there were piles of dirt down there then. So apparently at that point, it was...
I don't know, but let me just give the answer again. I said we'll look into it.
Fine.
I don't know what else can I tell you. You want me to make up another answer for you? I'll make up one. I mean,
No, I just throw in piles of dirt outside my front window.
No, I know, but I'm just what I'm saying to you is let someone look into it. I don't know if you want me to say something different for you.
I'm saying to you, they've done it before for other purposes, so perhaps...
I'm not arguing with you. Okay,
Well,
let somebody
maybe they can
look.
do it again.
That's all. Okay, fine.
Maybe some of these officials and people doing this big project and working the plant, they should be inviting the community.
We have, and we'd be glad to do it again. We've done it several times. We've had meetings here.
No, live here.
Live here.
Sleep here, wake up here.
Buy a home here, live here.
What was that?
What the road is and the road construction and all the construction that's going to be going on.
Well, I think when I started off, I said I sympathize with everything that you've done. All right, I live where I choose to live. Everyone chooses to live. Bottom line is we are trying to bring the facility back to the way and prevent it from happening what happened again. No one asked that to be prevented to occur. There's nothing positive. As I said before, there's nothing good about being here talking about this. You've lived here. There's nothing fun about this. Right? You went through the hurricane. I don't want to go through it again. Right? So we're here. We're trying to make the best of a I was going to say a crappy situation, no pun intended, but it is. This is not fun to be here. We're not enjoying this. Nobody wants to be spending this type of money. The federal government doesn't want to be spending it. I don't want you to have to go through what you go through. I don't want to have the odor problems that you guys have. We're trying to figure out a way that we can move forward the best of all cases, and none of it is a positive. I'm the first one to say this is not fun. To lose part of the park or to have construction going on in your backyard is not fun. But I don't know if anyone else has another answer. We can't pick up the plant and move it. I wish we could. We can't.
Our homes were built first, but is there any pre-construction stuff for the outflow pipe? Is that
No.
still being talked about?
It's still being talked about, but right
There's
now
no pre-construction, pre-setting it for that.
There's the ocean outflow right now is honestly at the base level of occurring. There's no money that's been devoted to it. Right now, all that there has about $150 million been that's going to come from CDBG money to start doing a nitrogen removal that will coincide with getting an ocean outfall. But you're talking about an ocean outfall being probably a 7 or 8 year. It's probably a 2.5 year permitting and design project.
Right. But
So
are they going to be, if let's just say that was the case, right? Are they going to be then designing that through a berm and through a wall?
no,
Okay.
no, and it would be tunneled and no.
Okay.
But
Okay.
all that,
Okay.
Having an ocean outfall has all been taken into account with the construction of a new facility, and I think that's the right way to do it because it makes no sense to do it any other way. So all the construction that's going forth, all the design components has been based upon getting an ocean outfall.
Thank you.
Glad to hear that, Mark.
Yeah, ocean outfall is the best thing that can happen.
Absolutely.
What's the plan for the two fields on either side of the children's park? Do you dare mention open
Is that the
space,
area-
or do we not even dare mention that?
Is that the area that we spoke? I'm just get confused in the area. That's the area that I think the committee was set up for. Yes. So we're just finishing up the feedback. I don't know who sat on the committee, but Bob put the committee together. There's many parts of that we can do. There's some that are problematic, but we're just finalizing those, and we'll get back to everybody. But there's going to be a considerable amount of upgrades. We're going to look to see if we can actually put it into this contract, or we could do it as a separate contract. Those decisions have been made depending on costs. And I say cost, not mean that we're not going to do it. Cost, it means that we can't put it into the other contract. We have to do a separate standalone contract.
What's the blue thing in that picture?